Show us what we're going to do today. Mathematicians, read, you know that one,
Read
and create.
Create is like making something. How do we show making something?
You are going to be writing it, but create also means to make it. So if you wanted to act it out like you're, like you're building it, like you're making it,
I like
like a
that.
hammer. That's cool. So let's go back to where we were. Mathematicians, read, and create bar graphs. Remember how we did that? Bar graphs, then we had to show the bars. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Bar graphs with multi-digit.
That means
Multi. Oh yeah, it's more than one. Good for you, Casey, for remembering that. Multi-digit data. Oh, you know that word. It's all those numbers and those tables and things. You ready?
put together.
Act it out with me. Make sure you're reading it out loud. You ready? Here we go.
Mathematicians read
And create bar graphs with multi-digit
data.
Exactly. So when we're done today, you're going to be able to discuss bar graphs, draw a vertical bar graph. Which way does vertical go again? You're going to be able to draw a vertical bar graph in your math journal with a title. Remember where a title is? With labels and a scale. And that's a new word we're going to learn today about what a scale is on a bar graph. You ready? Sweet. Here we go.
First thing we need to do is we need to talk about, Sebastian, we need to talk about some different kinds of graphs, right? There's two kinds of graphs that you might see, third graders. You might see a vertical bar graph. That's where the bars go up and down. And you might see a horizontal bar graph. That's where the bars go horizontally.
So,
Okay.
listen to me. Think about these bar graphs and kind of read it for you, right? Like, even though this doesn't have a ton of words on it, I can still read this bar graph.
Miss Lynch, I want you to read with some very important words.
Oh, over here. Thumbs up if you remember title. How can we act out the word title to help our brains remember what a title is on a graph? Where are you going to put it? Most of you are putting it up at the top, kind of by your head, because a lot of times titles will come right at the top of the bar graph. Now remember, a title on a bar graph is just as important as a title on a book, right? It tells you what that bar graph is going to be mostly about. So when I say the word title, what should I do with my hands again? Oh yeah, put that line kind of up top, because that's where your title's going to go. I also have to talk about the labels. When I'm reading a bar graph, I have to talk about all these little labels here that really help me understand what the bar graph means.
Oh, look at Gwen. Gwen is showing where the labels go. Could we do that? Labels go on the side and on the bottom. Cool.
So far we know about a title, and we know about labels, because labels go vertically up the side and then horizontally along the bottom. The bars, that's obviously important on a bar graph, right? How do we act out those bars again? And the bars are going to show us all of the data. Now, the last one, that's our new word, Miss Eichenberger. Scale, you say it.
Scale.
You might know about how you can step on a scale to weigh yourself, but this is a different kind of scale. Yep. Up here it says scale. What the maker of the graph decided to count by. It's like the key. Good for you, Princessa. On a pictograph, we remembered that sometimes those pictures aren't just worth one, right? Maybe 3 or 5, or maybe 100. That was this. I know, that'd be big, wouldn't it? That was the scale on a pictograph. The scale on a bar graph is a tiny bit different, but you still use it to count by and figure out how much the data is worth. Go ahead, Miss Eichenberger.
Oh, I was just going to say, the scale on our vertical bar graph up here is on this side. It shows the number of students. Do you see how it's going up by 2 every time? Will you count with me? Let's check. 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Oh, the maker of the graph made a scale that's 2.
Because when we looked at it, we had to count by what number? 2. Let's look at our horizontal bar graph. Take a look over here. Now, this time it's a horizontal bar graph. So, our scale's on the bottom instead of the side. Take a look. Finger on your nose when you know what the scale of this bar graph is. What did the maker decide to count by? It's super hard to read, sorry. Finger on your nose when you got it. Turn and talk with your partner. What'd you notice about the scale?
I know that.
This is the bundle of 3. What'd you count by?
I counted by 2,
Is that what you're
And I was gonna say,
Do you think that the scale always has to be 2? No. Sometimes it might be 100. Sometimes it might be 50. So it's really important for graph readers to really look at that scale and figure out what it's counting by so you can figure out the data. Yeah? Cool. All right, my friends. When I look at this vertical bar graph now I can read it because I know all these important words. So let's take a look at this one. This vertical bar graph is showing me the students' favorite juices. That's what the title told me, right? Now I can look at the label. Here are all the students' favorite juices. There's a red juice that 2 kids like. There's an orange juice. Whoa, way more kids like that. How many students like the orange juices? 8. Yellow juice. How many? 10. You take a look at the bar graph, you go all the way over to the top. 10. I could also read this graph by saying the most number of kids like yellow juice. Moose, here's when you got the number of kids who like purple juice. Go to the top of that bar and straight over. Give me a shout out. What'd you get? 6 kids like the purple juice.
Miss Lynch, it's kind of the same when we look at horizontal graphs too. Let's see if we can look at some of these numbers. I'm going to read my horizontal bar graph. What's the first thing I should do? Show me with your hands. What's the first thing I should do?
Where are we going to look first?
What's the first thing I should do? Yeah, I should read the title. The title says, Favorite Snack. Then I have to read the, give me a shout out. Ooh, give me a shout out.
Labels. There you go.
The labels say snacks and number of votes. Oh, so it's like kids voted for their favorite snacks. The snacks are fruit, vegetables, cheese, trail mix, crackers, and popcorn. Give us a mohawk when you know how many votes there were for cheese. It's really tiny. How many votes were there for cheese?
Oh my god.
Eigenberger, that one's so tricky. I'm noticing my scale counts by 2, but the cheese falls right in the middle. Uh-oh. I probably can't read it. What do you think, Jordan? How do you know? There's no number in there, Jordan.
What's in the middle of 6 and 8?
You got it. So, my other way I like to think about it is like, which bar is longest? Because the longest bar is going to show you which one. All right, who has to read the next one? Are you up? Okay, go ahead. Story.
Oh, okay. I think one of the benefits is that, we have 2 minds going at it. So when we're thinking of what academic vocabulary to put in the content objectives or the language objectives, we're both kind of holding each other in check.
Yeah, and I think we naturally kind of talk that through and work through it together. I find when I do it on my own, I don't always think as deeply about it because I'm kind of rushing, but you hold me accountable, and I think we kind of talk through that piece a little deeper than we normally would.
And you're such an expert on the math standards and the math curriculum that I can say, is this a word that we need to teach, or is this a structure that we need to teach over and over?
Yeah, we bring different things to the partnership, I think, which is really nice. Or give yourself a lot of time. Because I think we've been surprised at how long it takes to get through planning a lesson. And I mean, I feel much more confident walking into teaching a math lesson than I do, but just because I feel like we've really gone through it all, but it takes time.
It definitely takes a lot of time. I think we started saying, oh, we can knock out a week in 30 minutes of planning, but no, it takes us sometimes, an hour and a half a week, and it's a lot.
Yeah.
I think we're both excited and willing.
Yes.
And I think our teaching styles kind of match each other.
Well, and I think we also are really willing to have those conversations. Like, we'll look at each other halfway through and we're like, this is terrible. And we're like willing to go back and rework through it. And I think that that's helped a lot.